Norman Osborn finally confronts Spider-Man's darkest mistake. It's been 20 years since Sin's past cast its shadow over Spider-Man's history. Now, Marvel has finally closed that chapter, and it's Norman Osborn, of all people, who puts the nail in the coffin. In the Amazing Spider-Man #12, Norman Osborn has taken over Peter Parker's mantle. Using goblin-enhanced strength and advanced tech, he steps into the role of Spider-Man, an idea that's controversial to say the least. But the issue pushes this concept further by confronting Norman with the one ghost that has haunted him for decades: Gwen Stacy. The story begins with Norman battling New York's Spider family: Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Boy, Arachne, and Silk. He dominates the fight at first. Norman has been fighting spiders for years, and his experience shows. But everything changes when Gwen enters the fray. At first, Norman's anger flares. Memories of his abusive father surface, fueling his violence. But Gwen's voice cuts through his rage, and in that moment Norman does something shocking. He stops himself. This is where the issue hits hard. For years, Gwen Stacy has been at the center of Norman Osborn's darkest sins. Sin's past notoriously implied a disturbing relationship between them, a story so hated that Marvel later retconned it away. Still, the stain lingered. Now, instead of doubling down on violence, Norman breaks the cycle. He realizes that in treating Gwen, or anyone he claims to care for, with violence, he was repeating the abuse he suffered from his own father. That realization changes everything. Norman doesn't see Spider-Gwen as just another enemy. He sees her as a reminder of the love he twisted and destroyed, and instead of striking her down, he chooses mercy. It's a startling evolution for a man who once murdered Gwen Stacy and embodied pure cruelty as the Green Goblin. Losing his goblin persona has forced Norman to face how toxic he truly was, and Gwen remains the clearest symbol of that tragedy. By sparing her, he finally takes a step toward breaking free from his past. Of course, Norman Osborn as Spider-Man still feels strange, even absurd on paper, but this issue shows why it works. Norman carries decades of baggage, pain, and regret, and putting him in Peter's shoes exposes all of it. Instead of repeating history, Norman chooses love, something his past self would never have done. This arc may not last forever. Norman could easily fall back into darkness. After all, he's Norman Osborn. But for now, The Amazing Spider-Man #12 delivers something shocking: redemption, or at least the first glimpse of it. And in doing so, it finally puts to rest one of Spider-Man's most controversial and painful storylines. The Amazing Spider-Man #12 is on sale now.